the maximum, bring gloom down to the minimum.
We do just exactly that every Monday through Friday afternoon between 4 and 5. Try to accentuate the positive and share with you things that are life-enhancing. My name is Frank LaSpina.
And I'm Crystal Dawne, and we have a wonderful show for you this afternoon with a very special guest.
Indeed we do. What a career James Darren has had. Started out as a Hollywood heartthrob in the movies, moved on to a recording career, a Grammy-nominated recording career, and now is a distinguished director in primetime television. He's going to be appearing at the Suncoast Hotel and Casino this weekend. Crystal, what are the exact dates?
October 29th through the 31st, this coming up weekend at the Suncoast Hotel and Casino.
Yes.
James, I just want to say congratulations, because last week Mayor Oscar Goodman presented you with the key to the city, and what an honor. Can you tell us about that honor?
Well, I mean, it was great. It was even more great because Oscar Goodman's from Philadelphia, you know, which is
that's right.
my hometown, so it made it even extra special. But he told me, he said, you know, I don't give these out to everybody. I want you to know that. He said, this is really an honor. And I said, I take it as an honor, and I thank you for bestowing this honor upon me. And I tell you, he's a dynamite guy. I really dig him. He's a great guy. He is so, do you know him at all?
I actually had the chance to meet him. I was a guest on Frank's show, and he showed up, and we had
Oscar popped in.
Yeah.
Crystal was the guest for the hour because she just recently got her first speaking role in a movie herself.
Cool.
And Oscar saw us through the window. He was scheduled to appear on the show after us, and he saw it was me. And I actually ran against him for mayor when he was elected.
Oh my!
No, we're very good friends. I had him on my radio show like three different times. We're actually very congenial one another. And he saw it was me, and he popped in, and I said, "Come on." We were on a commercial break. I said, "Sit down with us." So yeah, he's a heck of a guy.
Oh, he's a great guy. I think he's dynamite. I mean, we had a nice time there in the office, you know. And he spent a lot of time with me, which was flattering, to say the least.
This last year, I had my first speaking role in a film, and I would like to know. No, actually, it was shot in Los Angeles. But I'm very curious to know how your first big break came about with Gidget.
Well, it wasn't actually with Gidget. I was living in Philadelphia and studying acting in New York City with a woman named Stella Adler, who was a great drama coach. And,
legendary.
Yeah.
Legendary.
I started taking the train twice a week into New York from Philly, and then I bought a motorcycle, you know, being a big Marlon Brando fan. And I think fate has so much to do with everything. I was walking down Broadway one day. I had seen agents, and they said, you know what, in order to get work, you're going to need photographs taken. So I'm walking down Broadway, and I see this thing, Maurice Seymour, photographer to the stars. So I go in, you know.
Just like that.
I mean, I just happened to be walking down that street, happened to see the shot. The rest of the story is really interesting. He takes pictures of me 2 weeks later. His secretary says, you know, you photographed, her name was Yvonne Bouvier. You photographed really well. Would you be interested in getting into film? I said, well, I'm not looking to be a plumber. I said, yeah, of course. I do want to get into film. So she introduced me to a woman named Joyce Selznick. And Joyce worked for...
Related to the famous
David O. She was his niece. And she was an incredible salesperson. I mean, just unreal. Anyway, she worked for a subsidiary of Columbia. She worked for Screen Gems. Okay. And I went in, met her, and she said, okay, we're going to go over to Columbia Pictures now, and I'm going to talk to them about signing you to a contract. I mean, I did exactly what you just did when my mouth fell open. Anyway, we go to Columbia Pictures. She calls and sets up an appointment. We go there, and we sit with this guy, Harry Rome, R-O-M-M, his name is. And he says, yeah, he's not a bad-looking kid. He said, we'll test him. And she said, no, he's not testing. He said, well, then we're going to read him. She said, he's not reading. He's not reading, and he's not testing. I said, excuse me a minute. And she said, you just wait in the outer office. And I said, okay. I went there, and before I left the room, I heard her say, listen, if you guys don't sign him, we'll go to Paramount. We don't care. We don't care. I cared. She didn't.
Confident.
I was thinking, who the heck does she think she has, rather, a Marlon Brando or what? Anyway, I'm waiting in the outer office, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most. And then Joyce sticks her head out and says, come back in. And George Sidney, the wonderful director, was in the office. And she said, sit down. You have a 7-year contract with Columbia Pictures. And I tell you, I was mummified. I couldn't move. I couldn't believe it. And Harry Rome called Harry Cohen, who was the head of the studio.
Were you yet out of your teens?
I was about 19.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who was the first person that you told? Who did you call?
I told me because I didn't believe it. I kept telling myself, "Did you hear did you hear what she told you?" I rode my motorcycle back to Philly, and because I didn't want to do it over the phone, and I told my mom and dad. Yeah, that was.
And what was their reaction?
They thought I was kidding them. I mean, they thought it never registered. You know, it was like, really.
Well, those things certainly don't happen every day, so.
No, I mean, it took a while for that to register. It took, I swear to you, I think a day for the day to pass. What you told me yesterday about the contract, was that true? Did you really get a contract with, yeah. And then there'd be another lull, you know. It was just so, I mean, they all knew. I used to, when I was 12, 13 years old, my dad would take me around to nightclubs in South Jersey, nightclubs and bars,
okay.
South Jersey and Philly, and I'd sing. You know, I'd get up on stage and just sing. And so they all knew I wanted to be in show business. You know, I mean, that was no secret.
Well, James, after you made such a big splash in Gidget, and do people still call you Moondoggie?
Sure.
When you walked in the studio today, someone called you
Sure,
Moondoggie.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And you don't mind.
No.
It's better to be remembered than not, right?
I'm not, absolutely.
Oh,
I
that's
couldn't agree
more
with you
than
more.
40 years later, and I'm still calling him that.
Yeah.
You went on to star in actually some very substantial pictures, not the least of which, I guess, would Guns of Navarone be maybe your personal favorite because you got to work with the likes of a Gregory Peck, David Niven, and was it Anthony Quinn was also in that?
Anthony Quayle, who's an English actor, and Stanley
That was
Baker.
like one of the biggest blockbuster hits, if not the top box office of '63, wasn't it?
It was, oh yeah, it's a great film. I mean, it was.
You must be
was
very
shot
proud of having
beautifully.
appeared in that.
Yeah, sure. And working with those people who were absolutely incredible stars and actors, you know.
But I don't want to put words in your mouth. What is your favorite film that you appeared in?
Well, Navarone would have to be one. Gidget is also. I mean, I loved doing that film with Sandra. It was, I mean, the first Gidget especially. Mm-hmm. But I did a film called Let No Man Write My Epitaph with Shelley Winters, Burl Ives, Gene Seberg, Ricardo Montalban.
Couldn't work with any names, huh?
And Ella Fitzgerald, who I absolutely adored. And that was one of my, it was a sequel to a movie called Knock on Any Door, which Bogart and John Derek did, if you remember that. You wouldn't remember it.
I do.
But it was a sequel to that. It was a very good film. It was a very good film. And I loved working with Ella, who was not, I loved working with all the people there, of course, but Ella had not really been an actress.
Let me make sure I remember that, the prequel correctly. Was that the one where John Derek was charged with a capital crime?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Great movie.
Absolutely.
And Don't Let Any Man Write My Epitaph was the sequel?
Yeah, written by Willard Motley, who's gone now. He was a wonderful writer, and he wrote those two books, and I think We Fished All Night was his third book. But that was a great film, and Navarone was an incredible experience. You know, we had a 3 or 4 month shooting schedule for Navarone, and then the huge set where the guns were built, it was like a city block long, and it actually collapsed one day.
Wow.
So they had to rebuild that. So we shot for 7 months as opposed to 3 months or 4 months. It was cool.